a bank, hundreds of years old, these organizations. And in the 70s, perhaps, they started to build IT infrastructures. So big, massive rooms, servers, etc. And there's a huge technical debt of that, where the organization doesn't want to let go of that investment. So you've sunk cost fallacy. You've the CFO kind of going, but we've spent so much on it. And then you have the digital team, hopefully not dislocated, or the new CTO that's been hired, or the old CTO who realizes this is no longer fit for purpose. And they go, we got to get rid of all this. But then you have all these risks. And I see this all the time. And I feel so sorry, particularly for people working as CTOs. And they're trying to build the new and manage the old, including the skill sets needed to manage the old. And there's huge, not only technical debt, but there's a psychological debt behind that.
Absolutely. Well, there's a connection, there's a connectivity, right? And there's the cannibalistic debt. Many CTOs are trying to unbundle, unpack, dedupe, retire old to build the new. But one of the things that's really interesting, and again, we covered in the book, we talk about the one-to-many effect, or the Spinout Syndrome. Right? But we take banking, but I see it in technology organizations, I see it in retail organizations, I see it in media organizations, I see it everywhere in all the sectors I work across. And here's the thing, we were doing business pre-digital for a long period of time in physical ways. And we have to remember that this virtualization of things is less than 100 years old. And let's put banking in context here. In the 70s, 60s, 70s, we started to see the emergence of the phone as we think of it as a virtual way to replace the physical engagement of going in, right? So we've seen the phone, then we've seen the ATM, right? So in the 70s and 80s, we went from one way to doing business to two to three ways of doing business, right? But then very quickly, that followed with online, and then it followed with the mobile, and then that followed with social, and now we have to do it on Alexa. Now, those changes, right, 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties, in 40 years, we exploded from one way to two to three to four to many ways. And here's the thing, because of the E+1 factor, you can't not do what you already did. You've got to explode. And so that's just ways of contact, the engagement layer at the very thin. If you think about all the products and services, moving to propositions, then if we think about all the technology that's required, all the data that needs to be managed, and then if you think about the capabilities you need to have, all the skills you need to have in the organization, and then there's a constant push to be more efficient. So you're trying to do this process layer all at the same time. And we've gone to one to two to many. So the Spinout Syndrome is actually exponentialism in an organizational sense. For a long time, one way to do business, now many ways to do business. And to do all those new ways to do business, you need to rethink your proposition. You need to rethink your people and your capability and your culture. You need to rethink your technology. So it's not just the CTO. They're in the center, absolutely. It's your CPO, it's your CEO, it's your CMO, it's your CCO, your commercial. I could go on. It's everybody needs to rethink in very short periods of time now. How can we get on this curve, go E+1 so we're not E-1? And actually, it's about undoing cultures. It's about undoing propositions. It's about undoing the hierarchical kind of thoughts and mindsets, as well as all that technology.